Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to open the continuance of the zoning bylaw public hearing from, I believe it was June 26th was the last time we were together. So I'm going to open the select board version of this. Brad?
And I'm going to open a meeting of the village trustees for the purpose of this public hearing.
Etienne?
And lastly, we'll open the planning commission meeting for this night, September 2nd. And the all members in attendance, including Josh on the Zoom.
Great. Okay, well, thank you all for being here. And thank you, Etienne, for stating the date. It is September 2nd, 2025. It's just after, it's 5:32 right now, I believe. Just before we get going, we're all here together. Got some important work to do, obviously. I think it's really important that we're all having this conversation together for rather obvious reasons. And getting the bylaws in place and getting the bylaws in place properly and correctly is obviously very important. Tonight, I just want to make a couple of remarks, and I'll let Brad and Etienne have some remarks before we start gathering some comments or some information from Brent. I just want to first say that Tyler's here tonight, and I just want everyone to know that Tyler is not did not author these changes, but he's here to help us interpret the text if necessary, so I don't want anyone to think that this is necessarily his doing. When we open things up here in just a second, we did, I just saw this for the first time today, we do have a review from legal counsel regarding regarding these bylaws. This is the first legal review of the 2025 bylaws, which is what we're considering tonight. We did approve bylaws in 2023, but obviously tonight is 2025 version of the bylaw amendment, the proposed changes. And I know when I read the summary, and once again, I'm going to let Brent talk in more detail about it in a second. I'm just a little concerned that some of the changes that are being suggested are major changes. I'm a little concerned that things are getting complicated with these bylaws. There's just a lot going on there. I know I've been concerned about earlier drafts with lots of different colors, and I know at least one other person at the table here has expressed the same concern to me, but there's a lot in these bylaws. The summary that Brent's going to give is just that. There is more significant comments beyond that in something close to a 65-page document that came from a legal review. So, me talking, Don McDowell talking, I just want to throw this out there, because I think we need to consider this at some point. But I think we've got a couple of different options. And I'm not wed to either of these, but I do want to offer this up, and maybe it's something we might want to talk about after we've heard what Brent has to say, but maybe we want to talk about it before. We have these bylaws in front of us, and I got another email just an hour ago clarifying statutes, and we have 150 days, correct me, Judy, where I go wrong here, but we have 150 days from the initial public warning to having to take action.
It's confusing.
Minus the 21 days brings us, if I can simplify that, we have 129 days to do something, to take some action here. And we are 129 days. Judy, do you know what date that brings us to?
So it's 120 days from the first hearing of the select board. The 150 is for the zoning administrator.
Okay.
And we've gone back and forth with VLCT because there's language in the statutes that actually extends that 120 days. But VLCT recommends best practice that the legislative bodies not take any more than 120 days because of the complications that creates for the permitting process. So 120 days from the first hearing. Should you do
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm assuming it's work, weekdays, or is it all?
No, it's all.
Oh,
Should bring us in around the end of September.
30, 60,
It's gonna bring you in at the end, the last week in September going into October.
So the significance of that
120
is we can, the bylaws have been given to us by the planning commission. We can work on rewriting these and tweaking them and doing what needs to be done. But we obviously have a very, very short window to get that done and to get that done correctly. And to get this done right, I guess is really the word I want to use. The other option, maybe there's a third option, but the other option for Don McDowell is if we don't think we have the time to do this, if we don't have a big enough window to get this done, that, I know this isn't palatable, but for everybody, but to send this back to the planning commission and ask the planning commission to work on this. And I'm saying this because I know what's about to come from the legal counsel review, and I think there's some potential complications in there. That does set the clock back. It would require us to pass a motion to deny. The select board would have to pass a motion to deny what's been given to them. I'm not saying this is what we should do. I'm just making sure we understand the process. It would set the clock back, and it would set the clock back significantly. Not just a month or two, but probably many months. So with that said, Brad? Any comments, any thoughts?
No, we're glad to be part of this discussion, and hopefully we're all gonna learn something here, maybe move on with it and come up with something that's gonna work for the community.
Right. We're really glad you're here too, so welcome. Etienne?
No, I think you laid out the problem accurately, if there is a problem. So at this juncture though, it might be best if you really outline the problem in question or the problems in question as they stand today.
Okay.
So could we first do some agenda changes?
Sure can, yeah. Sorry.
I recommend that we move community comments to after the zoning hearing. And then I also recommend late this afternoon, I received correspondence from MSI's legal counsel with a VHB memorandum. And it's 25 pages long, but the memorandum itself is only 2 pages. So I recommend that we have an addition to read this into the record under old business number 1, and then move the select board letter to number 2.
Okay. And that's to read the memo that came from Mahoney?
Yeah, 2 pages, not the full 25 pages, but
And then to add a second agenda item under old business?
Are you,
To do that first and then, yeah.
yeah, do
Okay.
that first before discussion of the draft letter.
are you proposing that we read our attorney's letter? Because it's 7 pages.
So I
Just
think
saying.
that the public would like that because we didn't have a chance to put it in the packet. I literally got it at 5:25. So I got just enough time to print it for all of you to have it.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Any other changes or additions?
No.
Okay. So we're in the public hearing. I'm gonna let you give us a summary of David Rue's comments.
So I reviewed this over the weekend, and there's quite significant comments throughout. If you have a printed copy, Attorney Rue's comments and edits are in purple. So I'm not going to go through all those. I think the best way to just summarize this at first is to read his email. So I'll go ahead and read the email so that all of you have, if you haven't read it, and the public has an understanding of some of the concerns. In my opinion, these are major changes, so that are being recommended. So it's not like it's minor changes that can just be quickly done by the select board. And in my opinion, I would think that the planning commission would want to provide feedback and thoughts on this, and not just rely on the legislative bodies to do that based upon legal counsel. But says, hi Brent, please find attached here to our edits and comments to the draft 2025 zoning regulations for Morristown and Morrisville. I've responded to your and the select board's specific questions below, and I had a few specific concerns about some provisions of the draft regulations as follows. First one is, there's a lack of clarity as to when the ZA or DRB reviews in certain instances. Second, in many places, the draft regulations use standards that are too vague to be enforceable per in the matter of JAM Golf 2018 VT 110, which is a court case with precedent in the state of Vermont. Under that, he says the regulations need to specify level of protection, preservation, screening, etc. This can be done by modifying the sentence to say protect to the maximum extent feasible, or protect to the maximum extent practicable, or preserve to the extent reasonably practicable, etc. And so he, throughout the actual red line, he provides areas where he thinks that should be changed. The third bullet is site plan review is limited by statute, so that does not apply to 1 or 2 unit dwellings. As such, the town needs to be careful with section 206 design standards. We recommend this only apply when houses are applied for on multiple lots and new development subdivisions, and not to a single house on a pre-existing lot. Otherwise, these might be interpreted as disallowing mobile homes, which is prohibited by state statute 4412. Next bullet point, section 420 of the zoning bylaws. You can't just cite 24 VSA 4412 and incorporate its provisions by reference. The town needs to enact specific regulations on each type of use. While the bylaws do contain some of these provisions, like nonconformities, not all are in the draft regulations. The same thing is true with section 725 with respect to PUDs and the standards in 4417, excuse me. Next bullet point, subdivision review process. The town's process appears pretty unusual in that it seems that subdivision applications just go through sketch plan and then final plat review without preliminary plat review. This makes sense for small subdivisions that might be eligible for administrative review, but not for most larger subdivision PUDs. Next bullet point, 510.6. He has V, but I think he meant 5, because this section goes from A to N. Conservation commissions cannot own property per 24 VSA 4505. The Conservation Commission is only allowed to administer conserved properties and recommend properties to purchase. Only the town or village can actually own real property. And then finally, last bullet is 760.23 of the zoning bylaws. Violates vested rights precedent in Vermont and is not allowed. Subsequent bylaw amendments cannot be applied to an approved subdivision once it is approved and following the recording of the plat. Those future amendments would apply to a zoning permit application if that application were submitted and deemed complete after the public hearing notice is issued for the select board's hearing on those new amendments. But the new bylaws cannot apply to an approved subdivision as shown on a recorded plat Mylar. So, you know, the one about the Conservation Commission, that's an easy fix. I would consider that minor. But there's things in here where he's saying that our language doesn't comply. And he's also talking about 760 section that violates vested rights precedent. And again,
Pretty big.
there's substantially more comments and recommended edits in here, but most of them fall right along with this summary.
Well, I'm gonna open it up. You've heard some of my thoughts. I'm interested in what other people might think.
Well, I'll mention the design criteria. Having been on DRB and planning, as far as I remember, it was always applied to new big developments. It was never applied to single family, and certainly not pre-existing. So I think that's kind of a no-brainer that makes sense. And I think in practice, we're already doing that, but we'd have to hear from other people, but that seems to make sense to me.
Maybe other select board members first, and I'll pass it over to the trustees.
I don't at this point. I mean, this is not at all my bailiwick, so I'm waiting to hear what other more astute people that are used to zoning and planning have for reactions.
Can I add one thing? Just the helipads, if you're in here, there's a mention about helipads that we don't have. And I will say, my sister lives in Long Island, and the helicopters are supposed to go across the ocean and they don't, and it is a nightmare. So I'm glad to see, and I do think that we need to have languages in here. And again, living next door to a 8-bedroom home, it would be a nightmare if they put a helipad in. So I think we definitely need to address that and condition it that you can only use the airport. You can't put a helipad in private houses.
Well, we would need to exempt Copley Hospital.
We can't exempt Copley because that's an emergency. Wouldn't that automatically be? Yeah, that's, I mean, yeah, but it's.
Helipad, I mean, an emergency landing on a highway for DART would be one thing, because it's a one-time use, but
Right.
that's
Yeah, I can't imagine that wouldn't be,
no,
I mean, nobody would ever consider stopping the hospital, but I see what you're saying. We gotta include, yes, yes. I'm talking about personal, private, yeah, but yeah, good point.
Well, Don.
Go ahead.
Perhaps it would be helpful at this moment to restate the requirement that was provided, that was given to the legal counsel. Because what this is a review of the entire zoning bylaw, all 70 pages or so, not just the changes that are proposed for this
Yeah,
hearing that we're in. And by my count, it's only the section 206 part that is actually really specific to the change we're making tonight. Well, sorry, with this set of zoning bylaws. The rest of it, I might be the only one who can speak to much of it,
yeah,
because I've been doing this for 13 years, but the rest of us at this juncture can't.
yeah,
I do recall that we specifically put language in the town plan to cover this question of helipads and airstrips that came up several years ago when we were doing the last revision. And the theory was that at the time that Act 250 would be called upon if somebody tried to put an airstrip in a private property, in which case they would go back to our town plan. Ron Roginski since said he didn't think that was adequate, and the city council is agreeing, I guess. So perhaps that's a good warning to heed. But again, I was struggling to really align the goal of a review of our changes versus a goal of review of the entire zoning bylaw.
yeah.
So is there a way to prioritize within that question?
It certainly is. I mean, that's a great distinction to make. Would you agree, Brent, that it is just 206 that he's
Well-
offered some comments on that reflect upon the changes that we have in front of us?
I think that Etienne makes a good point, but the reason why it's a review of all of our zoning bylaws is because the practice was, correct me if I'm wrong, that you didn't have legal counsel review previously. So if you look at 2023 zoning bylaws, 760, and we have notice from legal counsel that it violates vested rights precedent in Vermont and is not allowed, how to use the legislative bodies, keep it in the zoning bylaws, and what risks and liabilities does that create for the town? That's
It's a big one.
my response.
I very much appreciate your attempt to simplify this, and I'm glad you said what you said. It still strikes me as a complicated document. Now, we could, I suppose, take the viewpoint that we will just entertain the amendments, the changes that the planning commission has suggested, and disregard legal counsel on all the other issues in this document. And that would, again, it does make it much simpler to deal with.
To answer Brent's question or proposal, would we be required to reject this? Because what we're proposing is a set of suite of changes. So I have the page open to 760.23, which legal counsel is stating must be stricken. Or struck. That's correct. Are you even allowed to strike that at this function? So you can strike the select board can do it, or we could strike any part of the zoning bylaw, not just what is proposed for change. So I will have nodding heads.
Yeah, it can be amended by the legislative bodies, so the select board and trustees, or they can just ask you to go back and, clean up some of these things that, they can ask you to just, clean up those that have, like you've suggested, that have been amended. But my concern that I feel is my job to point out is that if you only address those things, and there's other sections in here, whether it be 760 or lack of clarity, which causes difficulty for both the zoning administrator and the DRB, and can create issues. The legislative bodies could just say, how about, I think what Don personally is looking for is the trustees and the planning commission especially's feedback on how to move forward with this and address legal counsel's concerns. And we met this morning, as we do, to go over every select board agenda. And I don't mean to speak for you, Don, but you said, this is not my bailiwick, this is planning commission, this is Tyler's. So, my recommendation would be that it go back to the planning commission, and Tyler and Etienne, the planning commission, clean up as much as they think they can, and get it to a point where we don't have to worry about any potential 760 or vague language causing potential difficulties.
Yeah, what I said this morning was, it's just the level of complexity is just continuing to increase. I'm looking for some way to, if we are going to try and get this done in the next, it's September 2nd, we've got less than 28 days. I'm not saying it's September 30th, but it's, the bell rings before September 30th, so we don't have 28 days, and we've got a lot to do. If we, as the legislative bodies, as the trustees and the select board, if we're gonna rewrite this and get this to a happy place, we don't have much time to do this.
So
And,
if you send this back to planning commission, that would reset the clock, right? I mean, that part of the problem goes away.
Unfortunately, well, yeah, I guess there's a fortunate and an unfortunate aspect to that. Yes, certainly it resets the clock and we start all over again. But
Maybe Eddie was saying same thing in a different way, but is there something in these changes that we're looking at that's more of a priority somehow than what the legal review has brought up? It seems like legal stuff is more important, but I don't know. That's a question.
so is there, in other words, to perhaps read into your words, is there a subset of things that are really important that we want to get across the line and
Right.
disregard the rest for now?
That's my question.
It's,
Seems like
it's the question I'm asking
we're
too.
stepping into, liability has been uncovered for something here. That seems like a priority on.
There is that, I'll say this and then I'll be quiet for a while, but yeah, there is that issue of legal counsel has raised this with us, and if we do disregard it, what does that mean for the town?
Well, answer the first question, I think, is section 206 design criteria is our response to Act 47 and 181 changes the legislature has made. It's meant to give us some control or additional control over what, especially 1 to 4 unit buildings, which now have no distinction in zoning, particularly for areas that are served by water and sewer. So we're having to apply design criteria to help to manage the outcome, what gets built. So that's pretty important. The other one that's quite important is the pending downtown designation is the reduction of building heights. Again, as a response to Act 47. So those 2 items I list specifically. Gentlemen, are there any that I'm forgetting? Josh?
No, I think those are the big ones.
No.
Okay. So one proposal that could be made is that because this is a legal review, the word not legal or the phrase not legal or illegal is used, in which case the response can be made to those discrete items, I would wager, in a rather quick fashion. We did this back in March with the first review, which is worth comparing because they're not identical responses. But 760.23, unless Tyler has some way that should be changed for us, perhaps it's just simply struck, using the wrong tense, from the bylaw very quickly. So it's 2 things. It's if we're prioritizing the 206 and the building heights response to the Housing Acts, then let's simply reset the clock and turn over the bylaw again with the Planning Commission. It will probably take 2 meetings, and strike those items that have been deemed not legal. This obviates the select board, the legislative bodies from that legal responsibility that Brent is describing. That gets us something back to you in as little as 2 Planning Commission meetings plus a public hearing.
So that would practically, we have to have it at our next, we'd have to probably work on the language at the next
That's right.
meeting and then warrant a public hearing for following one to make sure we have the 15 days we need to have a public hearing to do it, to get it to you. I mean, that's the one other thing too, figures if you guys do vote it down, there's a lot of stuff in here. The question becomes, what's the goal? Is the goal, to just make these tweaks that we need to get roads 2025 across the finish line? Or is if we're gonna go back and work on it, do we go back and work on it, which is which would be a much more in-depth process. And I guess the question would be is what's the impetus? Like, right, if we have to do something quickly, then
But we don't.
it makes sense to have a more tailored approach. If we don't have to do something quickly, then maybe it's worth a more deeper dive, and that's more really for the planning commission and, legislative bodies to kind of give guidance on that, and then I'll staff appropriately on that and try and achieve that particular outcome, but something worth we're thinking about.
I would like to say that I think Etienne's proposal completely makes sense. Let's get rid of anything that that's obvious liability, send it back to planning and review this. They know this document inside out from before, and then clean it up and bring it back to us, and they will be a huge resource for us because they have the background. Because I think right now we just don't have all, it'll take us a long time to get up to speed with the number of changes that have come through. So I think we send it back to the commission, minus the obvious legal, is my recommendation.
Thank you. Yeah, anybody else?
I guess for myself, I would just like clarity from the board. Do you want us to address the things that you say currently illegal and get this back to you so it can get here to protect us when downtown designation takes effect, especially for building heights? Because they're allowing people to go to 5- and 6-story buildings and their rules. We don't have a ladder in fire service that will reach those.
Has that been identified as a liability for us?
Because our old bylaws does not preclude that.
Right, I understand. I'm talking about what this attorney has targeted as direct liabilities.
That's not one of them.
That's what I'm saying. The 760.23 is very clear liability, get rid of it. Those are the ones it seems like we can get rid of, and then everything else should go back to planning. That's my recommendation.
To answer your question, I think we do need to deal with what's been identified as illegal, contrary to statute, and whatever those other top priorities are, and get this document back to us as quickly as possible. I mean, is that palatable?
I think just to be clear, is again, what are we, just the outcome? If the outcome is just to turn this around and get it back as quick as possible, and maybe, there's a few other things in here, like say, which ones are those you guys want us to tackle? Because there's a lot of stuff in here that could take time, that could potentially take more time.
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
And the one thing I would offer is, I think it sounds like you have some momentum, and I think they make all the sense in the world. And I think we probably have a tail effect that you might want to consider, which is the challenge is when you don't know something, you have a certain type of liability. And the remedy, I'm an engineer, I'm trying to be doing a long time. The remedy is usually a court or something that tell you, well, that wasn't legal, make the people whole, it's all good, give me a permit, right? Once you've been told that you have an issue by the legal profession, you now have a different level of liability, right?
Yep.
So depending on what is on and off the list, you may still have, to use a term from 2000, 2002, you may have some hanging chads out there, right? And so, so I think what you would want to do, if you want to do what's being suggested here, go ahead and do that. I think you probably, and the planning commission probably doesn't want to hear this, you'd probably want to then direct them to do the rest of the comprehensive review on everything brought up by the attorney, like pronto, like get work, because you said it may take a while, but like, it's not a job for like next August, because in that interim, you don't know what you don't know, and you had an attorney tell you that, it may not be copacetic, right? So I just think, if this is the path you go, I would include the tail on it. You then got to get back and look at the rest of the entire zoning bylaws based on this legal review.
If I may offer, that is the intent and the schedule we've laid out with Tyler, because given Tyler's, it's his permanent position now here, and there's a lot of subjectivity, not objectivity, but subjectivity related to his experience and his future experience that go into the way these bylaws are written. Correct. They just change when new people come on board, and they should, because he brings experience from other places that is very valuable. So that's a lot of words to say that we've established that it's probably going to be another 2-year cycle of wholesale revision of the bylaw in parallel with our other priorities. led by Tyler. And we've already established that schedule now. So that's a long answer to your proposal, Scott, but the question would only be, do you expect us to be done by a certain date?
I think you want to have more dialogue with your council. I don't know how to answer that, but, and to characterize after you take off whatever you're gonna take off, as you suggested, and what's left, and what kind of liability does your council feel like you're sitting with during that process? Can it wait 2 years, or does it need to be done in 6 months? I can't answer that,
Yeah.
but you need your input from your council for that.
Yep.
That's my
Agreed.
suggestion.
Don?
Yeah, go ahead, George.
Can someone with a clearly more experience in this than me, point to the pros and the cons of the kind of hurry up and get it, but approved by the end of September? And the, I think, reject it is the other option and reset the clock? What do we gain and what do we lose by either of those options? I'm trying to figure that out in my head and I can't get there, so.
Well, trying to get it done by the end of September is just, it's a very small window to get this done right, to get it done
Right.
correctly.
Okay.
And I
Well, but
think
that's tied to
sending
the
it back to
desire
the-
for,
sending it back to, one sec, Josh, is
Yep.
sending it back to, making a motion to deny would send it back to the planning commission. And then, it's really how quickly they might be able to turn something around and get something back to us.
But does that put up roadblocks for us for downtown designation or any other aspect that a total revisit by the planning commission would then preclude being able to check on the box, to sign on the dotted line that we've got something in place that we don't have in place?
Downtown designation, Brent? Any issues there?
No, our 2023, we've already submitted to downtown designation just for review purposes, both 2023 and 2025 bylaws. And Tyler explained that we're currently operating under both. By the time we need to submit October 6th now, we can provide an update based upon whatever is decided. There is a third option, which is he not only makes these summary comments on the email, but he actually makes edits in here.
Yeah.
And if you just want to go with these edits, the planning commission could conceivably turn this around quickly, or if the planning commission just wanted it done to protect vertical height, we could continue the hearing process relatively quickly, have legal counsel here and say, what if we just accepted all of these
Purple edits?
would that cover us enough? And there's still some questions that he has in there because he doesn't understand why things are in certain places, but those are more of the minor issues out of everything. So that's another option. The thing is that they're major changes, so you have to re-warn regardless. So
Unless they accept you accept the legal responsibility, there is no way around denying and re-warning the whole process. Is that
they can amend, the legislative bodies can make amendments on their own, they can put in their own language. So the legislative bodies could just make amendments, make changes, but they would be major changes from what was previously warned based upon this. So it would have to be re-warned
It's worth saying out loud that I see your brow furrow. That's different than what we've all been told in the past. So I'm not saying it's wrong. But just to remind folks, what we've always been told in the past is if there's any major change contemplated, the select board and trustees don't do it, it goes back to planning council.
Well, that's what I recommend, but
I'm just saying, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying that's different than what and tell me if I'm wrong, Tim, but that's different than what at least I heard last time we did zoning amendments about major changes.
Can I just mention one thing, having been on both planning and DRB?
Josh, you're up next.
The problem is until changes are made, what we have holds. So if somebody comes in to file for a permit, they're going by these. So until we change it, we're running a liability. So there's, getting it done sooner than later is going to clean it up for permits so that we're all on one page, rather than, dragging it out for a long time.
Yeah, because what I have to do right now
Yeah.
is, once you set the public hearing date, the proposed bylaws, for my purposes, are in effect for 150 days or until you guys either approve or deny them. So I have to review everything with 2025. Where this becomes problematic is, let's say somebody applies for something that's allowed in an area under 2025, but not allowed under 2023, and I issue a permit for that, it's conditioned on 2025 being approved. If it's not approved, they either have to come back to me to rehear it or reconsider it, or deny the application. I have an application that I just put the warning out today, that I'm reviewing under both. If in the event that 2025 gets knocked down, that we can still say it's still valid because it would comply with 2023. So that otherwise, if I didn't do that, they'd have to come back, have another hearing to get it reapproved for that. I don't like that the legislature does it that way because it creates this problem, but
I didn't know
That's
you
what
could
the
condition
rules
it. Yeah, I thought it was either or.
no, it's conditioned on, so let's say if you apply for something that's requires DRB approval and it's allowed
Yeah,
under 2025, but disallowed under 2023, then they would lose the approval. It's conditioned on that. So that's why the timeline's problematic for me, because if you guys don't make a decision within 150 days, I have to go back to 2023.
Yeah.
And even though you guys are still trying to do that, and it's a weird, how it's implemented is a complicated process, to put it mildly.
Josh, I think that was you who tried to speak a few minutes ago. You're
No,
muted.
I'm fine. It was addressed. Don't worry. Go ahead. Carry on.
Thank you. Well, the question is how to proceed then. We've got a third option out here.
I think there's no easy way, but it was pointed out, this is our legal advice, this was given to us. We have to act on that. Yeah, it's gonna cause some problems, cause some headaches, we have to go by that, we can't turn our heads off. I think we should do that and go back and address the smaller issues that we can at the time. But I think we have to, we cannot say we weren't being told that we couldn't do this when we weren't. That's the issue. So now that we've gone that far, we have to keep going.
Right.
Can't go back now. I think we just, like Brent said, adopt it the way it is with the edits, and then go back and maybe retweak the height and then, and the other issues that we can amend on this end. But I think now that it's out, we don't really have a choice. We have to go by it.
So does that mean we're sending it back to the planning commission?
I would, yeah, I think it has to go back, because that's the way the system's set up. That's what we've kind of tried to do it, give you the power to do it, but if it's already done, it's just a matter of reviewing it, looking at the edits. There's no easy way, but I think this is, my thinking is the best course of action to take, because it's already there, it's already been edited, it's kind of done for us. We just have to review it and use that and move forward with it.
and so you're saying that it would start with the planning commission would approve the edits as is in the purple, and then go through the process, the warning.
'Cause
Okay.
They still need to, I think as a planning commission, they would want to look at it, because it's just, they're just getting it, I think they want to look at it. and
Yep.
It's kind of what they want to do.
I think for my takeaway is, I just want to be clear as to, because again, there's a lot of different ways you could go with this, right? You could make this, you could get into the weeds in this, or we could just focus on what was outlined here. And I just want to be clear as to what the ask is the ask to just take these legal comments, and that's what we're focused on, get that approved, and then come back, and then we could kind of go back to the proposed timeline that I had and do a much more thorough, kind of a more fundamental rewrite of the rules, which will probably take a significant amount of time. That's my concern, is I don't, if we get it back, is the marching order to go back and to do that longer work, or is it just to focus on, which is gonna take a significant amount of time, or to focus on strictly onto the comments that we received from legal and only make those changes? Because that's the thing.
I just want to echo that. I mean, it sounds like the direction is send it back to planning council, approve what's in purple, and then send it back up to get it passed. And I'm just asking a blunt question. Is that the suggestion in the scenario on the table? Just send it back to planning commission, go through the official processes of accepting these purple documents, and then send it back up to get rewarned? Is that the direction? Is that the end goal?
I think that's certainly one of the scenarios, and then in the background, the planning commission would be taking the deep dive into the entire document,
Can I ask for a clarification on that?
which you've already initiated. Thank you.
Just a clarification, because I would think you want to make sure that you deal with the purple comments, but also forward any changes that the planning commission has recommended that weren't cited as being illegal.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense.
Both, right? The original work that hasn't been flagged,
Yeah.
which is very little, as you said. Most of it has been said it's okay. Like you said earlier, the new work. So long as it wasn't deemed illegal, plus the purple. And that's the clarification I would offer, but I don't know why you throw the new stuff on the edit floor necessarily, right?
I totally agree.
Yeah, thank you for that. Judy, just a clarification. So if we're to do this, send it back to the commission, we do need a motion to deny? Okay. So the board would need to pass a motion to deny, to send it back.
For the trustees usually.
Don, is this all three boards? Is this the select?
I would say the select board certainly, and the trustees want to make a similar motion by all means, yes. I'm not sure the planning commission needs
I'll
to
take
do
that back.
that.
The two
Right.
boards, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the two boards would do that.
So then we basically start the entire process over again with warned hearings, X number of weeks. So we're gonna be in December or January before you can approve that.
But it sounds like, I mean, it could be, it's gonna, I did say that in the beginning, it's gonna be many months. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not gonna be a couple of weeks.
So if we do this, we'll be running under the 2023.
Yes.
If you denied it, it reverts back to the 2023. Until it's rewarned, until the select board gets.
Yeah.
The planning commission has its public hearing and then sends it to the select board. The select board sets the date for their public hearing. And then those kick in again, and then I gotta use whatever's the most recent version.
So it
And
sounds,
it is confusing, so it's.
I'm hearing consensus here. Is there anybody opposed to this notion of sending it back to the planning commission, having them deal with the purple edits right away?
And the
Get it back to
changes
us
that
as quickly
they,
as possible?
Yeah, you're asking the legislative body, not the commission.
Well,
Yeah.
but it is.
I have an opinion, but I'm not going to share it.
What did he say? I'm sorry, Josh, I didn't hear you.
I said I have an opinion, but I'm probably not going to share it.
Tyler, does this, if we were to reject, does this muddy the water for you, or is it?
The water's pretty muddy most of the time in zoning anyways, it's varying shades. You know, I think for me, it's just, really what I'm trying to do is just, again, wanting to be fair to the planning commission, because I feel it's like, what is the ask again? Because again, just saying, oh, go back and rework it, well, we could, you know, I did a little, our last meeting, I kind of played around with changing the order, because for a flow standpoint, there's certain things I would like reordered, but that is a significant amount of work, and again, if that's what I'm trying to be clear, is what's the expectation? It's like, you know, do you not want to see this for 3 years, or do you want to see this in a couple months? Because if that's the case, we can do something much more tailored to the issues that were raised by legal.
I don't want to speak on behalf of the trustees of the select board though, but I'm hearing they're worried about vertical height especially. I've heard that for a while. So if you do a 2-year dive, that doesn't address those concerns, which doesn't matter if we have downtown designation or not. It's the Home Act that really creates those vertical height issues. So that's what I'm hearing from all of you, but.
Is that in these new changes?
Yeah.
So if we do what Scott's saying, that would cover.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, we'll move that, we can I had a draft agenda and we can just shelve that and we can prioritize, refocus and prioritize this. There was one other ask that we related to downtown designation, but that shouldn't be a major issue. We can put, that's already gonna be on the agenda for the next PC meeting. I already was kind of
Yeah.
emailed that to you ahead of time and I was kind of anticipating we were gonna have some work from this. So I think that is the plan to prioritize whatever the priorities were from here.
Okay.
So I believe our homework will be take this and read this before our next meetings.
Correct. Yeah. So,
So this moves it from September, the end of September until December.
something like that, yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's.
I can't put an exact date on it.
No, but I'm not, we're not talking 2 years, I think it's important that you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
We need to put forward, but at some point, we have some orders out there that we need to take seriously.
It sounds to me like the planning commission will be expediting this and getting it back to us just as quickly as they can. Whatever's, reasonable.
Yeah.
I know most of us haven't read these purple comments. I am ready to entertain a motion. I think is there suggested motions out there?
I'll move to approve the 2025 zoning changes as proposed.
Say that again?
I will move to approve the 2025 zoning changes as proposed.
Has to be in the.
Has to be an affirmative.
Has to be affirmative.
Thank you. Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion from board members? All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye. Oh, sorry, I goofed, never mind.
All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye. All those opposed to the motion as presented, please say nay.
Nay.
That would be unanimous.
We haven't had one of those in a while.
I will entertain a motion to approve the Warren 2025 zoning changes as proposed.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the Warren 2025 zoning changes as proposed signify by saying aye. All those opposed to the zoning changes as proposed signify by saying aye. Nay. Say nay.
We'll get it right.
Oh, Lordy.
It's unanimous.
All right,
We're all in agreement.
which is a beautiful thing.
Do we need to adjourn the Board of Trustees?
Yes, we do.
Do that.
I will entertain a motion.
Hang on.
Need to close the hearing.
Close the
Need to close the hearing.
please.
Okay, so I need a motion to close the hearing.
I would entertain a motion to close the hearing, the public hearing. Thank you. I have a motion do I have a second?
I'll second.
So a motion by Richard and a second by Laura. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of closing the public hearing, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Okay, now,
Okay, close the planning meeting.
yes.
We need a motion
to adjourn
trustees meeting. Second, on seconds, all those in favor of closing the planning commission public meeting, signify by saying aye.
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 I will entertain a motion to close the trustees meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
John, did you second that? Thank you.
Good to see all y'all. Yes, oh, yeah.
Gotta be done. I hate to send that guy.
Well, coats and hats and, all right.
Yeah.
There may be a, call it a period, but there's
Hopefully it is done.
And we can't, this is his legal opinion, so
How do you-
we put it in there.
I think that's the point.
There is some differences in this thing.
No problem.
Moving around the corner.
Take care. Did you see your report today?
I'm moving in for condensing space.
The select board meeting is still ongoing. Can I take a motion to recess for 5 minutes?
So moved.
I have a motion to recess for 5 minutes. Do I have a second? Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We will reconvene at 6:32. Okay, good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. And just for clarity, I got out of my usual mode during that public hearing. So I am going to officially call the regular select board meeting to order now. It is 6:33. Some of you have heard them already, but any agenda changes or additions, this would be the time.
Not except for, the VHP memo.
Okay, so we're going to read the 2 pages from, this is under old business. So number 1 under old business will be to read the memo or consider the memo from VHP. And then number 2 would be to authorize the select board letter.
Correct.
Okay, great.
And after this, we'll go immediately to community comments now.
Okay, great. Any other changes? Okay, thank you. So I would open up the microphones for community comments. And again, I would just remind people to please, in their comments, address issues that are not already on the agenda for tonight. Is there anybody in the audience? Is there anybody online that would like to speak? Okay, hearing nobody, we will move on to approving the minutes. So we have minutes from August 7th, 2025. That was an emergency meeting. I'd take a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes of 8/7/2025, emergency meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
So I have a motion by Richard and a second by Laura. I'll just begin by saying this was something that came up at the last meeting. It was not approved because at that time we only had 2 members in the audience we only had 2 members on the board at that time that were present at that meeting. George and I were absent. I've done a little homework. We don't need to be present to vote on minutes. And I am planning to vote to approve these minutes unless Richard or Laura tell us that, or tell me that that shouldn't happen for some reason. If we don't, it's worth noting, because George and I are absent, these minutes would never get approved because we would never get the necessary quorum of 3. So, having said that, any other discussion regarding those minutes? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes from July 7th, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Okay, great. We have minutes from August 18th, 2025.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the public hearing 8/18/2025.
I'll second.
So I have a motion by Richard, second by Laura. Discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes from the public hearing on August 18th, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
And that would be unanimous as well. We have minutes from the regular meeting of August 18th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the minutes of 8/18/2025.
Second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Richard, a second by Laura. Discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes from August 18th, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Thank you. New business. We have contractor selection for 2025 sidewalk replacement, a conversation that we had quite a bit of last fall. Jordan, Jordan St. Ange, I'll let you take over on this.
Yeah, Jordan St. Ange, Morristown Highway. The proposal is a complete replacement of the sidewalks on Court Street and East High Street. They're currently not ADA compliant and they're too rough for us to maintain in the winter months, so they don't get plowed during the winter. We spoke about it over the winter, and when we were looking at our capital, our bridge and infrastructure fund, I budgeted it at $104,217. And if approved tonight, this work will be completed this fall. The contractors are all ready to jump on it. It would be 440 feet of sidewalk on Court Street and 200 feet of ADA sidewalk on East High Street. And to bring the cost down, the highway department will be managing all the traffic control. We'd be removing all the existing concrete and all the curb. We'd be roughing in grade for the contractor. And as the sub base is needed, any material beneath the concrete, we'll truck that in. And once they pour the concrete, place the curb and pour the concrete, we'll use our forces to backfill and seed the area, and as well as complete any patch paving along the side of the road. Percy's was low bid. They were $104,891, and they're ready to jump on it. Get it done this fall.
Great, thank you, Jordan.
If I may,
Yeah, go ahead, Brent.
so Jordan budgeted he calculated $104,217. Percy's came in at $104,891. I wanna know why he's $594 off.
Yeah, right. This is good news, Jordan. I mean, we've been talking about sidewalk repair here in Morristown for quite a few years, and so it's nice to know this is finally getting done.
And the highway department crew, they've been bouncing around doing spot panels here and there, and they're just shy of 500 feet on the year that they've completed, focusing on ADA compliance.
That's so great.
The crosswalks, we've repainted some that haven't been there in years past.
Yeah, great.
So the village crew's done a good job getting a bunch done on their own, which was kind of, was planned as kind of a two-part effort, some contractors, some in-house.
I did notice that all the new sidewalks are all white. I don't know if you know, it's a big controversy right now.
They'll age nicely. They would spray them with a concrete sealer, and then they'll age up and blend in eventually.
And this work, these 640 feet and all, this is a substantial amount of the sidewalk work that has been identified that needs to be done.
Yeah, and Court Street, I believe before I was here, I believe that's been priced out once or twice. The prices that I heard, I couldn't find record of them, was quite a bit higher.
Yeah.
But by doing a lot of the work of excavating ourselves and trucking the material and traffic control, we're able to drive down those costs and really stretch our dollars, so.
Yeah, great. Because I know when we went to the voters last year, we did talk to them about getting the sidewalk work done and getting a substantial portion of it done.
So I will make a motion to accept the Percy bid for $104,891 for the sidewalk replacement 2025.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Laura and a second by Richard. Discussion.
Just a thank you.
All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
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 That would be unanimous. Okay, thank you, Jordan. Moving on to number 2, village 1-ton dump truck replacement due to the traffic accident. Jordan?
Yeah, and so our Morristown's 2022 F-350, it was a diesel 1-ton pickup truck. It was rear-ended and Johnson almost stopped at a construction zone. And so as a result of being struck, damage was done to the rear end of the vehicle. And one of the pieces that was damaged was a bracket where the leaf spring mounts to. And Ford has that determined as part of the frame and a non-serviceable component. So they, insurance, having to follow Ford's rules, says they need a new frame, and that cost has totaled the vehicle. Insurance is going to be paying us $61,605 for the vehicle, which is quite a bit less than a like replacement. The best price I could get on a new diesel Ford dump truck was $80,960.
So to bring the cost down, we looked at going with a gas truck instead of a diesel. We use it around town, we don't haul far with it, we'd be able to get by just fine with gas. That brought it down to $75,839. I got another price just today from Lamoille Valley Ford, and that was $73,000, which is still quite a bit more than insurance is offering. I did look into used options. The best deal I could come up with for used, trying to stay used like new, kind of how we did with the loader, was I found a truck with 8,000 miles on it, and even that was 68,000. We ended up finding one down at Lamoille Valley Chevy. It's a 3,500. It is a gas job. It is a four-door, which we don't suspect to be an issue for us. And that was down to 60,578, and it's actually the color red as well.
Jordan, the truck that was damaged, how many miles were on that for comparison's sake?
I don't have that note with me. It was under 20,000. I want to say it was
was-
like 16 or 17,000 miles on it. I can't say for sure, but
Okay,
it was
just
very
curious.
low.
Yeah, because I see that the one you're quoting here is 8,000, so I just was curious.
Yeah, that was the lowest mile used truck that I could find that was, you know, still had warranty left on it and all that good stuff.
And is it so low because the part's not available? Is that basically, they can't sell it, they can't,
Is what so low?
the 61,000 of the truck?
The Chevy?
Yeah, the one that was damaged,
Insurance.
insurance payout.
Oh, yeah, the insurance payout was.
Seems low, but, yeah,
Yeah, it's,
okay, doesn't matter.
I'm not sure how insurance comes up with their numbers. They sent an estimator
And you are suggesting the Lamoille Valley Chevrolet?
Yep.
Okay, great.
That's new.
that's new, has a 3-year bumper-to-bumper warranty and a 5-year powertrain warranty.
And it'll fit all your needs.
It'll fit our needs, yep.
And how much mileage is on it?
It's new.
Oh, it's new.
It's new.
And I'm sorry, what was the price on it?
60,578.
This is, okay, this is it, all right, thank you.
Explain
Oh.
why it's so expensive.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's a leftover model. These dealerships generally buy a cab and chassis,
Yeah.
sell it, and then you upfit them. Every now and then they upfit one themselves, and if they don't find a buyer that fits their needs, then they go unsold. So this one's been sitting on their lot for a while, and I think they're itching to move it, so they just lowered the price.
Do we need to do any work to get this up to specs for us?
It'll need a radio installed, strobe lights, and stickers.
So
and
we're
a
looking at
lot package.
So we're looking at how much additional cost to get this to,
Probably under 10,000.
okay,
But regardless of what vehicle we buy, whether it's.
they all have
They
that.
all have that issue, you know, they need a strobe package,
That's what-
radio.
that's what I thought.
So,
Okay.
Okay, I would entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion that we purchase the Chevrolet 2024 3500 HD from Lamoille Valley Chevrolet for the price of $60,578 as a replacement for our damaged ton dump truck.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? So I have a motion by Laura and a second by Richard. By the way, Brent, the difference in the price and the insurance makes up for the $590 on the earlier sidewalk bid.
Mercy.
So, do I have any discussion on the motion?
Richard.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, there's one more motion that I need you to make that goes along with that, if you look
Okay.
at the memo,
Okay, thank you.
that's the second motion.
I'll move
Go
to
ahead.
authorize Treasurer Sarah Haskins to solicit bids for financing if needed in an amount not to exceed $60,578, pending the insurance payout and grant authority to Brent Raymond to select a financing option offering the most favorable terms.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion by Richard and a second by Laura.
Do we need to add the 10,000 to this for the upgrades? Or where's that 10,000 coming from?
For the radio, the
The radios
stickers,
Yeah,
so on.
I was assuming that would come out of budget and not
Okay.
capital. It could come out of capital equipment fund, I suppose.
Okay, so we
Yeah,
don't,
Flex funds, the reason
Okay.
why this if needed motion is in here, if there's any delay in
On the-
insurance
yeah.
that causes us to potentially lose out on this truck, I just
Understood.
wanted the flexibility to quickly go in and find you know, maybe you might pay 1 month's finding, I don't know, but
Okay, understood.
Okay. Thank you. See, we passed that motion, right? We're moving on?
We did not vote.
We did not vote yet? Okay, all those in favor of the motion to replace the village one-ton dump truck, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Abate the small balances due. Sarah, you're here to talk to us.
I've got a handout that I've not given yet, hold on. Sarah, your handout. It's kind of crazy.
Good golly. Poor Judy, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. There's paper. Oh, holy moly, look at those little amounts.
So this concept probably is not new to you because you're Board of Civil Authority members. Usually this is something that's on an agenda of an abatement meeting. The state legislature changed the law last year and took the authority away from the full Board of Abatement that you are members of and gave the power just to the Select Board now. So the statute reads the legislative body of a municipality, it's a very last sentence. Municipality by a majority vote may abate diminuous amounts of taxes for purposes of reconciling municipal accounts according to generally accepted accounting principles. So I've been here 17 years, I think. This is a practice we've always done. Annually, the Board of Abatement makes a motion to give the treasurer the authority to abate small balances due for property taxes less than $10. And then submit a report to the board of what anything that was abated. Generally, these are people that transpose numbers in a check or write their check wrong. Sometimes it's a tiny bit of interest where they've mailed the payment, but it's late, so there's a little interest on interest. I spoke to our accountant to see with the change of the law, was there anything different or new that she needed to do? And she said, no, she just suggested that annually we do this when we set the tax rate, that I should just offer the list to you. I wasn't able to be here last week, or last meeting when you set the tax rate, so I decided to push it a week if you had any questions. But this is a list of all of last fiscal year's taxes. There were 24 accounts and it's $39.87. It would cost more in my
one letter.
time for postage to try and collect these amounts.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to authorize the town treasurer to eliminate small property tax balances due in the amount not to exceed $10,000 per parcel and submit an annual report to the abated parcels to the select board.
$10.
$10, what did I say?
10,000.
Oh, sorry, I'm in construction, I'm just, $10. Do I need to read it again, or can we correct it? Okay, sorry.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Laura, second by Richard. By the way, I was one of those guilty parties for not writing the check correctly. Elizabeth did catch it right away, though. So,
It's more common than you think when you come in the office and we catch it, we have you fix your check, but the payments that come in the mail are harder to fix.
okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Thank you, Sarah. So we have in our packet the proposed capital improvement plan, which is necessary for downtown designation. This is something that the administration has put together, and this is part of the application. And so I think the administration tonight is just looking for us to approve this, to make sure that our application is complete when it is submitted at the end of the month, or October 6th, October 5th, somewhere around there is when we're going to put this application in. It's worth noting that this plan can be amended right away. So it's just a matter of, it's a little bit of a placeholder just to get our application in place. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to set up, this is to set up, is this right? A motion to set a public hearing date for September 30th, 2025 at 5:30 for the proposed downtown capital improvement plan. So we don't have a motion to
Is that correct?
approve it.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
I can tell you why.
Okay, we don't, just curious, we don't
Thank
need
you.
a motion to approve it, just,
So I have a,
okay.
so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Laura, a second by Richard. Discussion. Would you like to explain that a little bit, Brent?
Sure, so it's state statute, there's state statute for everything. And so to set up a capital plan as per state statute, we have to notice it, we have to forward notice not only the public, but specifically the planning commission, read the town treasurer, and as with any notice, it's a certain number of days. And then at that hearing, you can make amendments if you want, hopefully you'll approve it, so we can get our downtown designation application in. And we have fulfilled all the statutory requirements about noticing this and having a hearing for it. At that hearing is when I would recommend that you approve the capital plan.
Thanks.
Okay, great. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous, Judy. Number 5, acceptance of Chris Palermo's resignation from the Select Board. You have his letter in your packet. I know you all didn't need to read it. I did reach out to each of you individually to let you know. I would entertain a motion to accept the resignation.
I'll make a motion to accept Chris Palermo's resignation with regret.
As of, do we need a date in there? Okay. Okay, we have a motion by Laura and a second by Richard. Any discussion? I do want to just thank Chris for his time he put into the board. Chris did a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes. Taught this guy a lot about how to be on a select board and how to get things done. And I'm very regretful of his leaving, and anyways, I'll just leave it at that. I wish you, Chris, and your family all the best going forward. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Yeah. That would be unanimous. Review the options for filling the vacant select board seat by appointment or election. So I've had a little bit of time here to think about this. By the way, the resignation just did go in August 20th for anybody who might want to know. We needed to let the public know that there was a vacancy within 10 days. We did do that. But we're here tonight to decide how we want to deal with this. And we do have 3 options. And one option is to have an election. And knowing the people that are in the audience right now, and certainly the board members here, we all know what an election costs. A special election is quite expensive. Approximately $10,000 to mail everyone a ballot. We do have the option to, and I'll follow up on this in just a sec, to leave it vacant. And we do have the option to appoint. So those are the 3 options. The law, this is from VLCT. This is their opinion. It's backed up by statute as well, but the law requires a select board to fill a vacancy, in quotes, forthwith. That's the legal term. Unfortunately, the law doesn't define exactly what forthwith does mean. However, forthwith in the dictionary, in the legal dictionary, means immediately. It means without delay. It means directly. It means promptly. And it means within a reasonable time under the circumstances. And in VLCT's opinion, the immediate time frame would appear to preclude the select board from waiting until town meeting of next year to fill the vacancy. So that needed to be said. That's out there now. Personally, I don't think spending $10,000 on an election is a wise use of our money. Given this legal opinion, I don't think leaving it vacant makes sense. If anything, if we were to head down that road, I think we would just garner an awful lot of unneeded public discussion at a time when we have so much else on our plates to think about. So I, for one, would suggest that we move forward with filling this vacancy with an appointment. I, for one, would direct administration, but the board will make this decision, to begin tomorrow to let the public know that there is a vacancy, to let the public know tomorrow that they can apply to fill this vacancy, and that the select board would then consider those applications. So I'll let others speak to this.
Well, I think that the precedent was set a couple of years ago when we had the same situation happen, and that's the way we proceeded as a board. I think I can't see spending $10,000 on an election or hours of Sarah's time and the BCA to do this. I think that's the best way to.
And I, of course, defer, because I have been through 2 appointments. And I will say there was another female that went through 2 appointments. Neither one of us were appointed, but we did win an election. Richard went through an appointment, was not appointed, and he too turned around and won the election. I am adamantly against appointments because just by the sheer nature of them, they are biased. And given the makeup of this board, we all have our own agendas, and I think it's absolutely, and I will say I went through that last appointment and it was really hard because we were in a crisis, very different situation. So there was a lot of criteria that had to be considered because we were in a crisis. That was a very unusual situation. Since we have a town manager, I think we need to change it. We have $600,000 sitting in an account, correct me if I'm wrong, that's for emergencies. As far as I'm concerned, this, and Sarah, do we have to mail them out? I absolutely believe we should have an election because I don't think 4 people can adequately pick someone and represent the town unbiased. I just don't. And I think given the time frame, we are heading into budgets, that it should be, the people should vote, and I think we need to change this going forward. And again, that $600,000 is sitting there for emergencies. So if you look at big picture, that's my opinion. And I will say, having worked with all these folks for 2.5 years, it's very clear we have very different agendas, and I don't feel confident that these 3 people will pick somebody that is going to equally represent me. And I want to move this board forward. I want to get us professional, and I don't think having 4 people pick somebody is going to fulfill that. That's my feeling.
George?
So how many months does it take, or what's the timeline for doing an election?
now that I guess we have been voting Australian ballot for officers, you need to set it, I would say minimum 60 days. You need 40 days from when you sign the warning to have the election to when you have the election. I need ballots ready within 20 days of the election, but people need to submit petitions. So you have to give enough time to let people know, A, that there's a vacancy, and B, give them time to collect petitions and submit them before we can order ballots.
And I will say that in the past, all appointments have been done in executive session.
Interviews.
Interviews, yeah, were done in executive session. My understanding from emails that we've gotten that that's actually not allowed. It should be all done in open meeting. Am I?
I haven't addressed that because I don't know what the select board, what
Yeah.
your marching orders process, so
Yeah, we got information and that it should be, I mean, and I'm you can check me, but I think it should be done in open meeting. And I will say, I have, again, concerns for people interviewing or doing an open meeting. And I think we want people to want to be on this board. And so whatever we can do to make it equitable for everyone and open. And again, my concern is not having a vote. Everyone knows that anybody who is incumbent has an advantage. And this person will, if we vote on someone, they have to rerun again in March. So that's very cumbersome also. I just think by 4 people voting, you're giving an unfair advantage for somebody as an incumbent. And I think it's been a problem in the past. And if we want to make changes to this board and get people involved and know that it's a fair situation and that they have an equal and fair shot at it, we need to do a vote.
So Sarah, can I finish the process? So you said 60 days at the least, so we're talking early November at the earliest. So we would have someone elected for November, December, January, February, and then we're in early March. So we're really talking about 4 months of an elected official through the election process. Okay, thank you.
And Laura, to answer your question, no, you do not have to automatically mail the ballots. That's the decision that the board would make.
Yeah, which, I generally have been for it, but in this case, I'm again, I would say that we not mail it. And again, given what's going on, there's a lot of legal stuff going on. So I think trying to bring someone in, and budget. I mean, it's like, we're kind of throwing them to the wind. And, we want to make sure that somebody coming in, first of all, is invested in this town, has some, background, and more, and again, I think we want to know that the people want this person. And I just think I am totally against appointments unless it's absolutely necessary, if it's an emergency, which I do not deem this as an emergency.
I guess what I would say is we've been elected by the townspeople of Morristown to make a lot of decisions. And this is one of those decisions. And it is our responsibility to fill this seat forthright, as the statute says. I think anybody who fills out an application and bothers to do that and throw their name in the hat is certainly going to be invested. Certainly they're thinking about what this would entail. Whether we appoint someone or elect someone, it's not going to matter. They're going to come in equally green as we all did, then there's going to be a learning curve. I don't think that really matters. once again, I worry about the time wasted when we have so many important things going on. Look at the agenda that we're looking at tonight, the different items that are out there, budgets coming up. I think we need to fill this seat forthright, as the statute says. And as you said, Laura, it's going to turn into an election right away. Whoever this individual is, if they are appointed, they must run for election at the very next election. They don't even have to wait till town meeting. If we should choose to have an election in December, they would have to run then. So the voters will get a say within a very, very short period of time. So that's why, I mean, you can tell, that's why I'm leaning towards an appointment, to get somebody on the board quickly, to get a fifth member here, so this board can serve the townspeople right away.
Well, I will say
Can
we have
can I just-
quorum, so
can I just
we
ask-
can move forward. We're not on hold here.
I'd like to say that we have set a precedent of mailing out ballots for the last 6 years, and I don't think it would be fair to decide arbitrarily to not mail out ballots before an election. If we've done it, I was not for it for some reasons, but we've done it, and that was what was agreed upon by the board 2 years ago. And I think if we're gonna have an election, we can't pick and choose when we wanna mail ballots and when we don't. That's.
George?
I agree with Richard. If we're going to an election, we need to do an election wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, if I was a voter in town and I was wondering why we're mailing ballots every time we have an election, but this one we're not, that would raise a flag for me.
But we also haven't voted on the elections in March, whether we're going to,
No, we haven't,
so
but
we can change the precedent.
we can certainly change
Just
the
saying.
precedent. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but,
Yeah.
you know, that has been the precedent, you're right.
I know who the individuals are that are gonna be standing up and reminding us of what happens when we don't mail ballots and what happens when we do mail ballots. We all know those numbers. They're starkly, amazingly different. Yeah, I see the hands up there. Anything else from the board? I'm gonna open it up to the audience first, and I do see 2 hands online. Anybody in the audience? Yeah, come on up. As always, identify yourselves, please.
Yes, the camera doesn't catch it for some reason over here, so there you go.
We're just moving the microphone over to the corner.
Out back. You putting him out back?
Literal.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jerry Throne. I think that this board has the ability to make a decision for a 4-month period to find a person who will be helpful to the rest of the members of the board. And I trust the board with being able to make that decision. If it was something that was longer, like 2 years, yeah, then I think it would make more sense to go to an election. But I think the 4 of you can come to a consensus and look at all the options and make a good decision.
Anybody else in the audience? Thank you, Jerry.
J.B. Jarrett, I believe in appointment at this stage of this time. It's a short period of time that we're talking about. By the time we send out ballots and get people on board, I think it hampers what you're trying to do. So I'm in agreement with appointment. The only caveat that I would say is you have to have 100% agreement on whoever it is, instead of 3 against 1 or 4 against, or 2 against 2.
That's not the statute.
But I think 100%, and then you just move
That's not the
forward.
statute. Can't do it. So you're running
There's
that
no
risk.
such thing as can't, Laura. I
Well,
mean,
you can say that, but.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that, I'm just saying that we can't promise you that, because it's a statute, it's quorum 3.
Yeah, and I'm not asking you
Yeah.
to That's my suggestion. my
Thank you,
feeling.
Jamie. Thea? I see two people online, and I'll address you next.
Hi, Thea Alvin. I was wondering if that interview process can be in open meeting.
It probably could be. Tonight, we're going to simply decide how we're going to fill the vacancy, not necessarily, or, yeah, which of those three options we're going to entertain, but yeah, that's a possibility. That was Thea Alvin. You may have identified yourself. Number one, it looks like Nancy Donovan, your hand up?
No, I'm raising my hand.
Okay. Go ahead, Nancy.
Nancy Donovan. I would like to see you guys to either wait until March or let the people have a voice now with whoever they decide. I feel like government in general across the country is not listening to people, and people aren't feeling heard. And I think it's really important that we have control over our local government and have a say. And I will agree with Laura. I do think somebody coming in as an incumbent would have an unfair advantage.
Thank you, Nancy. Kathy's iPad.
Hi, Kathy Chafee. I can tell you, I already know your decision, so I probably shouldn't even be talking. But I feel it's by ballot or don't fill it. By watching you people or you select board members as an audience, I don't know. I wish that every one of you would sit and watch one of your meetings and look at your actions. The way some of you fidget, the way some of you eyes grow big. But I say you either go by ballot or you don't fill it. I don't think 4 months is enough time for somebody to come on board and get in to realize what's going on. So I'll put an example. When Richard first came on, I watched him. It took him a little bit to get on the train and get rolling. It's not a thing that somebody's just going to come on the board and be able to know everything that's going on. And Don, I'd like to thank you for saying that they have to be reelected again, whoever comes on, because when Chris was appointed, the board was just going to let him go right through on the next election without being on the ballot. And the board would have allowed it unless I told Sarah it was illegal. So I'm glad you are realizing that. But it's kind of like when the board, none of you guys, sold the village garage and didn't tell the people. The people really do have a voice of what they want. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. So we have a decision to make. I'm sorry, Evelyn.
Yeah, I didn't know if when they went to the people online that I lost my place.
You did not. No.
Well, I was going to let it go. Evelyn Throne. I had thought about this quite a bit, and I do feel that an appointment is the best considering the short period of time. I understand someone would have to get on board quickly and figure things out, but anyone who got elected would have an even shorter period of time to figure it out, whether or not they even wanted to run again. But, there's going to be an election in March, and I think that's the time people can have their say. Even at that point, they can have watched the meetings and seen if they thought that person fit the demeanor or the decisions that they like. I think the idea of having an open interviews it sounds good. I hope it's possible, and I think it would be a really good idea. And that made me even lean more towards the idea of an appointment.
Thank you, Evelyn.
I would say, because I did read that, and I thought you had sent it to us, Brent, that in You did, because I sent you back an email and said we had always done it. We had always done it in executive session, because we were talking about doing an executive session. So anyway, I would.
That was an executive session for the select board to discuss
We misunderstood each other.
the resignation. There's nothing under statute that I could see for the select board to have an executive session to discuss resignation. It might say the same thing, it might read the same way for interviews. I didn't know, I'm not familiar with how you've done it in the past. I just haven't researched what the process would be.
Yeah, in my head, it was clear that I was referencing the interview, so I apologize that.
I totally misunderstood that.
Well, and I apologize that it wasn't clear, so, but I do think I read through VCLT that, that the interview should not be in executive session, and I certainly would hope that they, you know, and again, it's a concern to me because putting somebody through interviews with open meeting is stressful, but it's, you know, no more so than elections, so, okay.
Okay, so we have a decision to make. I would entertain a motion.
I guess I'll move to move forward with the appointment of the select board member.
Okay, so we have a motion to move forward with the select board appointing someone to the vacancy? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Richard, a second by George. Do you have the motion, Judy?
I wrote down,
Okay,
I wrote down what was said.
okay, great. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
That would be 3-1.
So
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a follow-up so the administration can be clear on the expected process. We will notice to the public, put it out there that we're accepting applications, and next select board meeting, discuss scheduling, special meetings, or
Do you want a due date for when those applications are due?
the more direction you can give us, the better, so that we know.
I would say before the next select board meeting?
Well, I think it's got to go into the newspaper. I think there's some,
We're too late for this week, aren't we?
We can put it in the newspaper, these are the things that we're looking for, so
Yeah. I
we
believe
don't know
we're-
if any statute requires, like a notice,
You
but we
know-
wanna make sure that we
Okay.
fulfill.
I think it's required, but at minimal, I think we absolutely have to put it in the newspaper and front page for them and get the word out as much. So I don't want to rush this because, again, I want as many candidates and choices. You know, I want people to not be surprised about this, as I've said, so.
Okay, I would agree. So we can begin that tomorrow. But I would say applications ought to be due on or before. Well, let's see, September 15th is a Monday, so maybe, what's that, the 12th is a Friday?
We can't do the 12th. So if it's going in the newspaper, it won't come out until September 11th in the newspaper.
Okay.
So the 12th would not be seen.
So we wouldn't have
Won't give 'em
application.
time.
Well, in that case, I mean, on the 15th, we could decide how we're going to deal with the applications, and we could make them due, how about the 19th? That gives
You're
2
doing
full weeks.
Fridays.
Yeah, I'm doing Fridays. just-
Yeah, I can't do Fridays, so.
No, just for applications to be due.
Oh, okay, I see,
That's all.
I see, okay. I just, yeah, I think it's, I see why you're doing Fridays.
Right, and then.
It's deadlines.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So potential interviews, well, we probably don't want to take a regular select board meeting to do this. We'd have to have a special meeting for this.
Yeah, I think we do.
So that'd be the first week of
Sorry,
October.
we're back to 2-3 days a week. It's just exhausting. Sorry. I sighed, just explaining.
What's the issue?
Just because we have so much going on and, we've worked so hard to get this into a regular, and now we're going into with MSI and all these, budget things, it's all these special meetings, and, we're meeting 2 and 3 times a week again, and it's just an enormous amount to ask someone to do. That's all. Just airing my frustration.
I know, we all understand that. We're all in the same boat on that one. When would you like administration to ask for applications to be due?
It would depend on when we would be able to interview them. And if we're gonna do that during the day in open, if it was to be an open meeting, or is it gonna be?
If you wanted to open, I would suggest you do it after hours, so that
Have
people
to.
that want to observe can observe, so it would be an evening.
What? Right, but we've done the interviews during the day before for other positions.
If we said the 19th of September, that's almost 3 full weeks. That's 2.5 weeks
For applications to be.
for applications to be due.
Okay.
I would say we have never done a night interview for a select board, because people work. We want people who are working. So we have done for jobs, but we haven't done, so I think the interviews have to be at night if we want.
Okay, I thought, yeah.
And that's what we have done. That's the precedence we've set.
We've done evenings before, that makes sense.
So Don, is there going to, would every applicant be granted an interview? This is just a process question.
Yes.
I mean, that's really up to us. I know where that's going, because we would have to then have a regular select board meeting and have a meeting to go through the applications and decide who to interview if we weren't to do that.
Okay, so that clarifies it. So if we are going to interview all the applicants, and the deadline is the 19th for submission, we could start looking at the week of the 22nd of September for a special meeting. I see Richard shaking his head.
No, because you wouldn't have an opportunity to look at all of the resumes, if you will. If they were due on the 19th on a Friday when the office closes at 1.
Okay.
And then to have something on the following week, 3 days later, we wouldn't have an opportunity to look at.
Okay, so then we're looking at the week of the 29th.
September 30th is already
That's
now
right.
scheduled for a special meeting for the public hearing process for capital improvement plan.
Yeah.
So that,
5:30?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, what do you think that, how long will that take?
Depends on if you guys want edits, like it could be 2 minutes.
Right.
It depends on whether or not the public has any comments, or the planning commission, but it could be 2 minutes, it could be an hour.
And to that point, even if it is 2 minutes and we have 15 applicants and we give them each 15 minutes, that's a midnight night for all of us. Looking at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
But at least if you set the initial date, doesn't have to be for scheduling interviews, it can be for you to discuss the applicants.
That goes back to my question. If we're gonna interview them all, should we be discussing them before we interview them? It seems to me like it's,
Go ahead.
it seems like a discussion would be kind of, whether it's intent is or not, it's almost starting to seed the applicants into the.
I'm not suggesting that you
Yeah.
do have any conversation, you can't, first of all, amongst
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
Quorums. What I'm saying is September 30th, set that date, and then depending on how many applicants we have, we could be updating you and scheduling the specifics of whether that's a review of 2, 3, 4, 15.
Okay.
If it's 15 applicants.
We have the numbers running, that's all you were saying. Okay, I'm sorry, I went someplace else. Sorry, okay. Yeah, then yes, maybe we could do some of the applicants on the 30th or.
And depending upon how many there are.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Again,
Let's do that.
traditionally, we have allowed 45 minutes, which to me is minimal for somebody.
Yeah.
Minimal for somebody that's gonna step in and manage a $10 million budget.
I don't think last
I
time
mean-
we were 45 minutes, but, you know, I think we might have been between 15 and 30 minutes, but
We can pull it up, I mean, because
Yeah.
we did 2 nights and we had, I think, 7, 8 people. They were long nights. But
So-
again, I say this is a very, very important position,
absolutely,
so,
absolutely. So I would suggest the 30th and the 1st. If we have so many applicants that we can't do them all on the 30th, we can finish them on the 1st. Judy, that's what we did last time, right? We had 2 evenings?
I was actually just trying to pull it up. Let's see.
yeah, we did 2.
I cannot do the 29th, I will not be here.
And my only concern with the 30th is that, you know, with any new programs that are coming in, there's a learning curve. So there's generally a discussion. So I just anticipate that that's not going to be a quickie because people are going to come in and the capital improvement and we're going to have to discuss all the capital improvements. So I just don't see that as a short meeting. And I think, you know,
But we would,
I just think we can't, you know, this is to cut that short because we have applicants. And again, having people come in and interviewing at 9 o'clock. If we could, yeah.
What I'm saying is, you already have a meeting scheduled September 30th, and if you're concerned about too many meetings, you
Yeah, I know
schedule September 30th to at least review all the applicants that have applied. Not interview them, but review them, and then at that time, you can set a schedule. Or if only 2 or 3 people apply, between now and then, you know, we'll be updating you all, and that can change to potentially 45-minute interviews for 2 of the 3, and then I'm offering is September 30th is already scheduled now. I'm not asking you all to shortcut the capital plan. I'm not asking you to like hurry through this process. I'm just trying to come up with dates.
let's pencil in the 30th and the 1st. We've got the 15th. We've got a select board meeting on the 15th, and we can iron this out at that point, rather than taking more time tonight. I mean, we don't need to decide on it, all that's gonna happen on the 30th, and we'll probably we might have a little bit of an idea on the 15th as to the number of applicants we're looking
We
at.
did 7 of them, 20 minutes apiece.
20 minutes apiece.
20 minutes apiece.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty fast.
Did we did them in 2 nights or 1 night?
We have 7 of them on one night and maybe there was more on another night.
Okay,
Was it all in one
One
night?
night.
yeah. So I would say applications due on the 19th, that gives us a week to look at them. On the 15th, we can continue this discussion of exactly what we want that 30th and the 1st to look like.
And I just want to be clear, open meeting law, that we cannot review those resumes and make any decisions prior to interviewing. I'm clear about that, because that's an absolute violation. So, you know, I think the resumes get sent to us but we cannot meet, you know? So I just want to be, and so there's any reviewing and any kind of discussion or elimination cannot happen.
Correct.
Okay, just so we're all in agreement there.
So
Yeah.
the only other thing I want to clarify is if you're okay with us putting a notice out there accepting applications tomorrow, and you have no problem with that going out tomorrow, but you know that the paper advertisement will not be out there until the 12th, and you're good with that?
Yep.
I just want to make sure that.
And applications will be due on the 19th.
Okay.
And will that'll go up on our website as well?
Yep.
And do we know what we're asking for? I can't remember, just resumes, or we didn't do any formal application, just?
No, if you go to the website, you can actually go and review it all before I send this notice. Tomorrow, you folks can review the questions. But on the website, under board vacancies, if you go to maybe departments, government, if you go to government board vacancies, there's a form, an online form they fill out that asks many questions. And they answer those questions, and that's what you'll get the feedback on. Everybody gets the same questions asked.
Do we want to request a cover letter and a resume beyond the application?
Yes, and are we going to review the questions, was my question. Do we feel the need to review the questions? I haven't looked at them.
I mean, that's.
Given there's a lot of different things going on since the last time.
Nearly as we can
You
do
would have
as the
seen the
15th.
questions at the Alexander Copley Trust when we did an appointment for that vacancy.
Those are all the
same
same.
questions are being asked of all the boards that we fill vacancies for.
Maybe a letter of interest with the.
I can pull them up and put them on the screen.
I don't know, I just think a board is very different from a select board.
And so.
Boards don't have deciding power, we
So in
do.
response to that, rather than us dictating what all those questions are, we can ask the questions we ask of all board members and then encourage applicants to put a cover letter and a
Yeah,
resume
definitely
in
cover.
there. And let them tell us about why they should be on this board, rather than us pretending like we know what all the potential questions are. I mean, there needs to be some
that's how
element
we've done
of
it. That is how we've done
creativity
it
on
in the
their part,
past.
yeah. And I would
Let's see, I'm
I
just
would think
curious.
anybody who's applying to be on the select board in this manner would want to put a lot of information into a cover letter and would want to make sure that their resume was appropriate.
Okay, so here's this, here it is here. Somebody wants to read those off, so are you a resident? Which board? How'd you learn about it? Does anyone want to take over, or you want me to keep reading?
So it's asked, how did you learn about the board or committee? Have you attended any meetings of the board/committee in the 6 months prior to your interest? Yes or no? Do you provide any goods or services to the public related to the board/committee? Yes or no? Are you familiar with the governing rules under which the board committee operates? Yes or no? Briefly, what qualities, experience, training, and/or skills would you bring to this board or committee? Please share your ideas related to the board committee and the topics they are responsible for. Have you appeared in front of the board committee before advocating for a specific issue? If yes, explain. My availability allows me to attend most of the meetings of the board for which I'm applying. Is there anything else we should know about you?
Do you have any direct conflict of interest with any of the people interviewing?
Yeah, I mean, I would.
It's been an issue in the past, I can tell you. So, if somebody's son came in here, just saying,
Well, I would hope.
just, it's good to ask.
I would hope I
'cause
would recuse myself if Evan came in here.
Yeah, just saying.
We can add a question, do you have any, please declare any conflicts of interest you may have.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's an employee or something,
Again, those questions are all pretty generic, and again, a serious applicant would want to expand on those questions, those answers, I would think.
So we'll have that up tomorrow morning on the website, and then we'll send out via Front Porch Forum on the website, Facebook, and Judy will submit to the News and Citizen for publication on the 12th.
Okay.
Jamie, did you have
Do you have
something?
enough? Yeah. Do you feel like you have enough? Yeah, come on up, Jamie.
Jamie Jarrett, by looking at the questionnaire there, I think it's too generic. I think you need to really focus on what the board members actually do, right? You're talking about budgets, you're talking about employees, you're talking about a lot of different things there. And this is so generic that if you want to reduce the number of people that are going to apply for this, you want to make sure that they are definitely on board with understanding what they have to do on a monthly basis or bi-monthly. I don't know, it's just too generic for me.
I agree, I think
Richard.
asking,
Richard?
just ask, we need people that have financial background, that have, how they've been involved in town, what's their, I completely agree, that's, to me, that's fine for a start, but if we're only gonna have 20 minutes, and ideally, the resume will tell us some of that, but I think, again, they need to realize the commitment and that, because when people leave, it leaves us really in a bad place and it cost us a lot of money. And I can tell you, quite a few people have left in my time and before my time, and I can say quite a few appointees have left because they don't quite realize the time commitment. And it really is, just, it's bad for town. It's a learning curve. It's a lot of work for Judy to get somebody on board. So, you know, that's, again, kind of why I go back to the voting, is giving people time to come to the meetings and finding out what's involved is really key. And I can tell you, going through interviews, people tell you what you want to hear. That's the bottom line. They just do. And I will say, I found out in the long run that they aren't necessarily truthful. And that's why I would like the people, but, so can we edit the
Well,
questions?
to answer my thoughts on James' question, because it wasn't that long ago that I went through the process and I filled out this with a letter of interest, this form that was there. The questions that I was asked when I was in the formal interview were nothing like the questions that were there. It was a complete
That's true.
separate list of questions that asked me about my experience with budgets and about my involvement in the community. So that piece, and if we're gonna do it in a public forum, everyone, if that happens, everyone here is gonna hear those questions and those answers. And we're not just, or my experience was that the questions weren't anything that were on that form. They were completely different than what was on that form.
Els gave us formed a list for us, which is probably somewhere. So she drafted a list. Again, it was more specific, again, at the time, because we were dealing with budget. And that's part of my concern, is we're dealing with other things now.
Ellen gave us a list of questions for
The interviews.
the interviews, yeah.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but consequently, I can't remember if the candidates were given them beforehand, because they were pretty
No,
involved in questions.
We weren't given the questions beforehand, but my comment on that is, if we include, do you have budgeting background? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I'm not saying, I'll just say candidate A might not be strong here, but they're super strong there. I know that I'm not strong in certain things on this board, but I am strong in other places. So if you pigeonhole someone and say, do you have a college degree? Do you have this experience? You might be missing out on a candidate that's not gonna fill out the form because they don't meet those criteria, and I think that could potentially be a
Yeah,
shame.
that makes sense. I will say, I went through the 2 appointments I went through, we did not have an HR director at the time, so there were not formal questions. When Els came in, we got the more formal questions. So I guess I'm gonna ask Richard, do you think the questions should have been sent out beforehand?
The questions were formal. The questions that I was asked were formal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it was before Els, because I was on the hiring thing, or around the time when Els was hired, so I don't remember who formed the question, who posed the
So it
question.
was probably Paula, but so my question to you is, do you think the candidates should get those questions beforehand,
No.
was it?
No.
It wasn't too it wasn't too confusing to try to answer on the spot?
No, that's
Okay.
what it is. That's what we do here every day.
Okay.
I equate this to Jeopardy. I don't know the questions that are gonna be asked.
Well, I can tell you, I have had plenty of interviews where the questions were sent to me beforehand, so.
We have, and you know what, the nature of the interview is going to beg follow-up questions that are gonna be different for different interviewees.
Yeah, I mean, if we have 20 minutes. And
Someone's gonna come in here with a really, 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 really strong finance background, well, we may not need to ask them a lot of questions about finance, we may be more interested in something else.
And what are our thoughts on second interviews?
I think that's a decision that we will make as a board when we've gone through the first interviews, like we normally do when we're selecting people for different positions.
We determine at the time. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
You good, Brad? With,
So what's going on? I just wanted, we're gonna add the additional question about, please declare any conflicts of interest.
I think that's the only one that needs to be on there.
That's okay,
That's fine.
yeah.
so are we asking for a cover letter and a resume
Yes.
as part of this?
We will also include that.
I would like to see one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. There's a skill set, whether
Yes.
it's truth or fact or fiction, we can figure
But you
that
can tell how
out.
they
but-
write.
There's an element of seriousness
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there.
Fair.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, administration feel like we have what we need?
I think we're good. I just wanna make sure that we didn't potentially do something that any of you were concerned with around the timing And I think that the discussion was really good.
Appreciate diligence.
Yeah.
Jamie brought up a good point, but other points were brought up, and
Okay.
And you will get back to us when we find out the state statutes on interviewing an open meeting as opposed to an executive.
I can, but I didn't get a sense from the select board that any of you want to know executive session for these interviews.
The 15th, we can talk about this.
Okay, I
Let's
guess
talk
that's the
about this on the
question.
15th,
Okay,
you're right.
all right.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to move on then to old business. And for old business, we have some new documents that the board has not really had the chance to review at all, since one of them was received at 5:10, at least by me it was, and the other was received at 5:30 tonight, and we had a meeting that started at 5:30. So as such, I think it wise, I can't imagine any of us have had a chance to read this carefully, that I read these letters.
We're
And-
gonna read them, Tom's talking over everybody. He's
Yeah.
asking for copies of
We
them.
get copies of both the letter from MSI and the letter from the lawyer.
MSI's is 27 pages.
No,
We're only gonna read
no.
We're only gonna read the announcement, but,
No, MSI is 2 pages, we're just reading the memo.
we're reading 2 pages, but it is
Yeah.
27 pages.
There is a much longer version of this, but this is the memo that they did put together, which is
Yeah.
2 pages.
About the lawyer that we're gonna.
And that one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 pages.
Will they be
If you're
put on?
just getting that, I'm sorry, I'm having a problem. If we're just getting that, and this is the one that's supposed to.
Could you come up to the microphone, please, because people need to hear. I can anticipate your question, but go ahead.
My problem is, if you're just getting this letter, how are you gonna be able to review this, to vote on this, to be sending to the Act 250 Commission, to really give it a thorough look at, and letting the folks hear?
So unfortunately, Tom, we have until Friday to do this. This is due on Friday, September 5th. That was
Well, the lawyer must have known that too, right?
The reality of it is we have until September 5th, so we need to make a decision tonight. This is the reality. I wish I had,
Reality sucks, but.
it does
Is there
sometimes.
anything we can do about reality?
I don't know what that would be.
At least give us copies.
Yeah, part of the reason I'm reading this is that, I don't know, do we have copies?
I can make more copies if they.
How many copies would we need? Show of hands. Hands up a little higher, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Via email that I can pull it up on mine.
Yes.
I can pull it up on here too.
Because I can give my copy to somebody is what I'm trying to do here.
Could it be put on the website?
Not,
It can, probably not promptly, but it can be put on the website.
not tonight.
So
Let's,
because this came in so late from legal counsel, I literally printed it and walked in here.
yeah,
But I see at the top, draft letter, confidential and privileged attorney-client communication. He knew that we're discussing it tonight. I just wanted to disclose that my protocol is to seek written permission from legal counsel to waive attorney-client privilege. I'm letting you know,
yeah,
just
should
seeing it
we,
now for the first time, but he knew that it was going to be discussed and reviewed by the select board tonight.
yeah, should we be talking about it?
He
Yeah.
knew it was going to be discussed and reviewed by the select board tonight, so he knew that it was going to be made public tonight.
That is my
Not
interpretation.
clear, yeah,
If that's the case, you can't make copies.
yeah.
You can't make copies if it's confidential.
But that's what it says on
It's
there.
in the public hands, you can't do that.
But it's gonna be in the public anyway, Jamie, if we should read it.
But it being read, it's not physical.
Right, yeah. But it does say.
I don't,
Their ability to.
yeah, to negotiate,
Client privilege. If you're allowed.
yeah,
Would everybody here like a copy of the inside?
and we're, this is no attorney
That was
client.
That was
I'll be right
perfect.
That's,
That
that's
one's
not from
clear.
the legal counsel, and they asked me to
Okay.
forward it to the select board if they wanted to revoke privilege. They're not our counsel.
They're not our counsel, okay. All right. Shall we start
Would you
with
like
that
me
one?
to begin with VHB?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is dated September 2nd, 2025. The project is the Airport Industrial Park, number 58621.00. This is from Peter Samir. In response to a request from 2322 Laporte Road LLC, and in reference to the Airport Industrial Park Project, also known as Project, VHP has prepared this summary of the project's approach to controlling dust emissions, and for further relevant context, reviews the town of Morristown's own approach to controlling dust emissions from its extraction and crushing operations at its sand and gravel operation at Duhamel Road, recently reviewed under Act 250 permit 5L1136-6. Remanded Duhamel. The purpose of this comparison is to demonstrate how the project exceeds standards of recently approved local rock extraction operations with respect to dust control, emission controls. Extraction overview. The Airport Industrial Project proposes temporary rock extraction in an approximately 8.5-acre portion of the 89-acre industrialized zone parcel at 2322 Laporte Road. Extraction will last approximately 10 years, with an average extraction rate of 35,000 cubic yards annually, for an estimated total of 350,000 cubic yards of material. Once this activity is complete, the temporary extraction area will be reclaimed and developed into industrial lots as part of the overall project. Dust control and air quality. Dust emissions for the project will be controlled by implementing the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources, ANR, standard conditions for dust control as requested by ANR and submitted to the District 5 Act 250 Commission on March 11, 2025, with notice to all parties. These conditions will be incorporated into the Act 250 land use permit for the project and are listed in Attachment 1. They generally consist of a series of best management practices associated with roadway maintenance, sweeping, covering trucks, carrying material, dust control systems on material processing equipment, and management of material stockpiles. Per ANR's review and recommendations, these practices ensure compliance with Vermont Air Pollution Control Regulations, Sections 5-231(4). In the 6 months since ANR provided its recommended permit conditions, the project has not received any technical evidence or expert studies that demonstrate that the above practices would be ineffective. For those of you that are reading along with me, I'm just about to begin the final paragraph on the first page. In addition to the typical ANR dust emission control measures described above, the project engaged with an air quality expert to conduct an air study to conduct a site-specific air modeling study, Attachment 2. Appendix C of the air modeling study includes recommended emission control measures that will apply to the project during the rock extraction operation. These measures both encompass those proposed by ANR and exceed ANR's conditions. In particular, they include additional measures to be taken by the project on an as-needed basis. Consequently, the air modeling study, page 7, finds that the project, quote, the project will not cause or contribute to a violation of the ambient air quality standard and therefore not adversely impact a neighboring property by complying with Vermont and federal air pollution regulations and adhering to the recommended emission control measures. Comparison with Duhamel. Phase 3 of the town's own Duhamel extraction operation involves 700,000 cubic yards of material removal and handling over a period of 25 years. Parentheses, Act 250 permit number 5L1136-6, remanded. For this operation, the town will employ similar but less intensive, dust emissions control measures than those described above for the Airport Industrial Park project. Application 5L1136-6, Exhibit 031, from the town's application materials acknowledges the town's continued use of A&R's recommended practices, stating, quote, "The project site and the screening machine do not have a history of causing dust issues." In Exhibit 031 of 5L1136-6, the town then requested an exception to A&R's standard dust conditions to allow it to use a rock screening machine that is not equipped with a wet dust suppression system. Wet dust suppression systems are typically requested by A&R in its current standard recommended Act 250 permit conditions. In its application materials, the town accordingly states that by following its proposed practices, parentheses, which are less intensive than those proposed for the new operations by A&R, close parentheses, open quotation, there will be no process emission, orders, or sources of sounds created by this project that will create undue impacts, close quotation. To ensure it could continue using this above approach, the town entered into a settlement agreement dated October 27th, 2023, after appealing its Act 250 permit 5L1136-6 with the goal of reducing dust control measures for the town operation. The town cited regulatory overreach as part of the rationale for its appeal. The result of the settlement agreement was to modify the conditions of permit 5L1136-6 generally as follows. A, to remove the condition requiring the town to use wet dust suppression on its screening and crushing operations. B, to allow crushing to begin at 7 a.m. rather than 9 a.m. C, to extend the permit duration to October 2049. And D, to extend the required period of reclamation from 1 year to 2. Dust emissions approach comparison. The table below outlines how the airport industrial project exceeds both the requirements recommended by A&R and those practices currently supported by the town itself at its extraction facility. So the first column of the table is facility ID. We have airport industrial park, followed by Duhamel. Second column says site-specific air study prepared with additional dust practices. The air industrial park is marked with a yes, Duhamel with a no. Wet suppression for processing equipment, airport industrial park is checked with a yes, Duhamel with a no. Processed volume, airport industrial park, 350,000 cubic yards, Duhamel 700,000 cubic yards. Duration until final reclamation, airport industrial park, 10 years, Duhamel 25 years. Conclusion. The Airport Industrial Park project has made significant efforts to develop a technically sound and environmentally responsible framework of management practices to control dust emissions during the period of the project's temporary rock extraction operation. By implementing the above practices, the project will exceed the town's own dust mitigation efforts at the Duhamel extraction area and is expected to operate such that it will comply with all Vermont and federal air pollution regulations with no undue adverse impacts to air quality resulting. That's the end of the memo. Comments, thoughts, questions from the board first? For me, the obvious, I mean, clearly there's a comparison, there's an attempt to compare and contrast here. I would argue the area around on LaPorte Road is quite different than the area on LaPorte Road, or the Duhamel pit, I'm sorry. Different in terms of neighborhoods, different in terms of topography,
And the product being produced is also different as well.
different in terms of the product being produced. So those are some quick comments on my part. Anybody else on the board want to say anything?
I agree. That's all I need to say.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. That's not an adequate comparison at all.
So I dare ask, I'm happy to read this. Would you like me to read this?
Can we read this?
Would you like to read it?
Well, I'm not sure we can.
No,
It's
I'm-
Oh,
confidential.
I'm sorry, I understand your question now. Do we know yet?
I'm confident you're reading it.
Do you want to listen to me for 15 minutes? Yeah, can we? Are we,
I'm almost certain that he was clear that this was gonna be discussed publicly. And he also offered if there's edits that are needed, because this is a draft, that he could go into executive session tomorrow after a continued hearing. So, but he knew, like I literally emailed him I left a voicemail for him at 5:05 saying, hey, the select board meeting's starting in 25 minutes. It's just, today has been such a whirlwind with delays and unexpected things being received that I would normally, if I had time to look at this, say, hey, I see this, but want to just confirm that we had this discussion, that this would be discussed publicly. So based upon that, it makes me nervous, but how else are you all able to do this without a discussion?
the only other thing I could think of is that we could take a short recess for 15 minutes. We could each find ourselves a separate room. We could read this ourselves, come back together and discuss
So
the meat of it.
I guess one question, clarification is that, you know, privileged attorney-client communication, you know, technically you guys are the client because you're the town. So, you know, I know it's kind of a gray area, however, you know, this is going into a private negotiation, so we don't, you know, I don't know. Makes me a little nervous. I firmly believe I would like for everybody to see it, but at the same time, we have to be careful because of legal, and we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot by.
So procedurally,
Yeah, what do you think?
Ms. Alberry, could we always look to Judy for this, but could we table this for now? Give the board a chance to read it, and then tomorrow night reconvene?
Yeah, I did just read it, but.
Yeah, so we could conceivably table this tomorrow. I can get clarification from him about whether, you know, we can read this, whether we can share it printed. And tomorrow, we already added an executive session. We can do a special meeting, which doesn't require much of.
It would have to be an emergency meeting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. If you put the executive session, but the question is, can we have an open session?
And I guess, are we gonna, what we're doing here, because I have another question. I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, I just want to
So
continue
we can
that.
have an
Get this cleared
emergency meeting, we can have the appeal hearing, we can have an executive session, and then open it up to an open emergency meeting.
We need to have something that we can share with the public. The public's here, they're expecting to hear this. This needs to, you know, whatever it is that we're going to decide to submit or not submit, it's gonna need to be shared with the public at some point.
I think Brent is looking for clarification tomorrow with legal to make sure that that he didn't.
Yes.
Maybe his intention was not to put this header on the letter. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's like when you wake up in the morning, whatever your routine is, you don't even think about it, that's
probably
what
But I just am not like totally comfortable.
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
So if,
Yeah.
I understand several, everybody remaining here is here tonight
For this.
for this. And,
Yeah, it's horrible.
it's just,
I mean, the only other thing I'm not suggesting that I think it's right, and it cuts out the public to a great big rate. No, we can't go into executive session tonight to discuss it and then vote on it and then becomes public, because we haven't won the executive session. Okay, I've answered my own question, and I don't like that idea because it takes the public out of the conversation. It gets it moving, but it doesn't, we want your input.
And this will also give us us as a board an opportunity to look at this besides
Yeah,
getting
that's also true.
5.5 and not,
Yeah.
Ideally, Brent, we need to share this with the public before 5:30 tomorrow too. I mean, it would be nice for them to get it at noon tomorrow or ASAP,
I'll
obviously.
reach out to them first thing in the morning. I mean, we're not his only municipal client.
Right.
And municipality can deal with
I get that.
complex things, and I'm not making excuses for him.
Yeah.
Right.
He was very clear that this was going to be, very late in the day when we talked to him, so I think that I'll be able to get a hold of him and get this cleared up. And if he gives a go-ahead, we'll put it out, we'll post on Facebook too, that it's available in a packet, and,
It is frustrating for all of us, Mr. Cloutier, that this came in at 5:30. Believe me, we're all in the same boat. I will say, this lawyer let us know last week that we've put a lot on his plate, but I'm not gonna make a lot of excuses for him. I had somebody over here who wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to say,
Then,
Well, and I want to make a comment
one second,
too.
if is that Kathy or
That's
Nancy?
Nancy.
Nancy, I'll get you in just a second.
Kristen Fogdahl, this may or may not be helpful, but I just wanted to understand better, is this, as far as what's privileged right now, is it the letter that will go to the commission? Or is it something about the letter that will go to the?
No, it is the letter. It's a
It is the
draft of the letter.
So you probably already are aware of this, but as soon as it goes to the commission, it will be public.
Right,
So
yep.
if it is the thing that you're intending to make public,
Right,
maybe that makes it better to share.
right, yeah.
I don't want to answer it tonight.
Jamie?
Yeah, that's good.
One more, then Nancy.
That's a really good point.
Jamie Jarrett again. Playing the devil's advocate, theoretically, in hindsight, we are the clients because he's
That's what I'm
representing the town,
Right.
the community, the residents of Morristown, so.
That was my thought too.
Yeah.
Again, and I just want to say that, having done lots of legal stuff, I also don't want to in any way endanger our chances, So I think do our due diligence, but I would also ask, what is our timeline on getting edits? Because if this has got to go in Friday, we're on a really short window of, if we decide there's edits.
it's
And
5
so-
pages, so it's thorough. I had conversations with him about criteria. He double checked that in my form that I submitted to the Act 50 Commission, I listed the town under all criteria. So he said that despite what the commission limited us to, that under statute should be recognized under all criteria, so, it's 5 pages. I haven't had a chance to read it, but I'm guessing based upon his work that it's going to be thorough.
I read
It's
it.
just a matter of getting it to the final stage, and he might be labeling it this because it's still draft, and he wants the select board to have, the ability to keep this in privileged draft form until it's finalized product.
I think it's gonna behoove everyone for everyone to have a chance to sit down when they're comfortable and read this. This is an important letter. And for us to rush through it now, even for me to read it, doesn't give the public nor myself really a chance to think about to fully comprehend it. So I would suggest we do it tomorrow night. I know that's really frustrating for everybody involved, including ourselves, but that's what I would suggest.
I will say, I read through it, and I think that it will behoove all of us for us to look at it first, because I think we can save a lot of time. Because right now it is a draft form, so we can go around in circles and circles and circles. But very potentially, we can look at it and eliminate things that might be controversial. So I think the cleaner version that you guys can get will be better for everybody. That's my thought. So tomorrow I'm so sorry, we hate to delay it, but this is a very, very important situation here, and.
Well, hopefully the public will get the same draft that
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully, I just,
I haven't read yet, that's for sure.
I read it quickly, but, again, I just think, I think we need to have a quick conversation first, after we've had time.
Yep. Okay. You good with that? Okay,
Yeah, you guys good?
yeah, okay.
Jerry's good.
So, yeah, come on up.
Thank you. Jerry Throne. I agree, you need to have time to look at it, digest it. You have it in front of you. We have nothing. What I'm suggesting is, yes, it's nice to have a clean draft once you've redlined certain things. What I'm suggesting is, as soon as Brent gets the okay, makes us all feel comfortable, that you release it to the public, you can still be editing it, but that we need enough time also to look at it the same way you do.
Agreed. Yep.
Agreed. I
Yep.
agree with that.
Okay,
Once the attorney gives it all clear. Yeah.
okay, I am going to move on then. Approve the warrants. I would entertain a motion. Do we have warrants?
Oh, somewhere, that would be nice. Not by just,
Okay.
like everything else, we're just kind of doing it as we can.
Okay, did I get a motion? Okay, I got a motion, do I have a second?
Yes,
So I have a-
second, sorry.
So I have a motion by Richard, second by Laura,
I wanted to make sure I knew what the motion was.
to approve the warrants. Got a motion by Richard and a second by Laura.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the warrants, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Richard and Laura, 4-0. The upcoming schedule, well, tomorrow night, as you have been hearing, we do have the continuation of the LeBlanc public hearing at 5:30. And you know that there's going to be an emergency meeting following that. Next, or 2 weeks from now, we'll have our next regular select board meeting at 5:30. Tuesday, September 30th, as we've alluded to many times, we're going to have a public hearing regarding the capital improvement plan, and that's for downtown designation. And then October 6th would be the following regular select board meeting, followed by October 7th, a special select board meeting in which Jeff Carr, economist, will be here to talk about the local options tax. So, we have no other business. I would then entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Richard, second by Laura. It is 8:10. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much, folks.